Where'd you get this ship? Don't tell me a Wrathstar's gotten loose. Whoa! Oh, great. It's the Guavian security soldiers. Get below and stay there until I say so.
Hello there, Lunar Squadron. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga video. This time around, we are here with the voice of Han Solo, AJ LoCascio. AJ, if you just want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your involvement in the project, and then we can just go into sort of a questioning so that everybody gets a good idea of your involvement in LEGO Star Wars.
Sure. Well, I'm AJ. Hello. Let's see. Where do I begin? I mean, I voice Han, young Han, and then Silver Fox Han in LEGO Star Wars, and also a random Sith trooper, which I wasn't expecting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sith
I was playing the end of like the last one, I think Rise of Skywalker, and I was punching a guy, and I was like, oh, that's me. That's my voice. Like, I didn't remember doing that at all. But yeah, I'm a voice actor. I do motion capture. I'm best known for voicing Marty McFly, Prince Lotor and Voltron. I'm doing Gizmo in the upcoming Gremlins Secret of the Mogwai, and a bunch of random characters. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of where I'm at.
So just to get into some background first, like, how long have you been doing voice acting for? And I guess if you did anything before that, we'd love to hear about kind of like your story, how you got into it. And at what moment did you know, like, I'm going to be a voice actor? This is what I'm going to do.
I still don't know that, but I'm still like, I still cringe when people are like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a voice actor. Like, I feel like it's going to be taken away if I say it out loud. I started 12-ish years ago. It was the Back to the Future game. I heard that they were doing a game, and I was like, man, that's really cool. Like, and I didn't really think much of it. And my cousin Johnny was like, you got to audition for that. And I was like, how? I was living in New Jersey at the time, and he was like, just call them up and like leave a message or something. And so I went to Telltale Games' website, and there was a bunch of, at the time they were such a small company that this is pre-Walking Dead. You could just go on there and everyone's email and phone number was just there. So I called up Rhoda, the accountant, who I owe my entire career to, and I left a message as Marty that was basically like, hey, this is Marty McFly, or my name is AJ. And I just kind of did this weird, like, this is my density. And and I asked basically to audition. And what I didn't know was she took it to a bunch of people around the company and just had them listen to it. And so, which is wild, that would never happen now. And then I got an email that was like, hey, can you, maybe send us an MP3? And I was like, okay. So I did, and I didn't hear anything back. This is like in June of like, I don't remember, 2010, 2009. And I had a friend who was like, hey, I need a roommate. Do you want to move out with me to LA? And I was like, sure, I'm clinically depressed and I hate being here. I'll move out to LA. So I did. And within like a week or two of being there, I got another call that was like, can you re-audition? And I was like, yeah, of course. I thought you guys had forgotten about me. So, because I assumed, they sent a mass audition out, which I'm pretty sure they did. And I auditioned again just with a little Rock Band mic taped to a paint can and sent it in. They were like, all right, you got it. And I was like, what? So that was my first thing, which is insane. Even when I tell that story, I don't believe it because it's not something that would happen today or would be super, super rare for someone to just slide in that capacity. So that was my first thing. Pretty weird.
Jeez, we've been back together for 5 minutes, Doc. You're already talking about the end of the universe. I've missed that.
Fast forward from Rock Band mic to now, like, you are...
I got a fancy mic.
Yeah, you got the fancy mic, you're in like the escape pod thing, and you are we're heavily involved in this game that now has sold 32 million copies in its first 2 weeks.
That's
like
crazy.
Congratulations to you for that. That is a massive accomplishment. I mean, just how does it make you feel knowing that it is in the millions and millions of people, and that's multiplied because there are so many people who don't own the game but watch gameplay, watch your voice as Han Solo in this game? How does that make you feel knowing that you are going to be such a significant part of so many people's lives for years to come? I know a lot of people like Nick and I were raised on LEGO Star Wars, such a big part of our life. So how does that make you feel?
It's insane. I mean, I played the Lego Star Wars games with my brother, specifically the prequel ones. Yeah, it's really surreal because you think about games from your childhood, and for me, playing the Indiana Jones games, like those voice actors had an impact on me. I think his name was Doug Lee in Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis and that stuff. Those kinds of voices get sort of ingrained into your head and become kind of a part of you. So it's weird to think that that's going to have an influence on kids and stuff, and that people are, I didn't realize the numbers. Everyone kept saying like, wow, it's outsold Elden Ring and all this stuff, which is like, how? Yeah, I mean, I believe it, but like, it's hard for me to fathom. So it's a combination of just sheer awe and also, as you're saying those numbers, a little sick to my stomach. The idea of like, that's a lot of people. I can't even imagine that many people. It's incredible. I mean, we recorded it, I want to say 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. It's hard to tell because of the pandemic and the sort of time dilation. My concept of time is not what it used to be anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And we've been waiting for it for so long, which is how I came across your channel and like Bombastic and like certain people that were just, here's information about the game. And we were like dying for anything. Me and my friend Shelby, who does Leia, any little bit of news, we'd send, an article. Yeah, because for us, this is, I mean, we've both worked on a bunch of projects, but it's Star Wars, and we knew we were getting to replicate lines from the movies and stuff, and so this, to us, is the biggest deal in the universe. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I kind of went off on a tangent. But
No, that's perfect. That's perfectly fine. Nick, did you have any questions?
We know you played both like the young Han Solo and the older Han Solo, and they're two very different voices. Like,
yeah,
I was honestly, when we were going through the credits, I was surprised to learn that you had done both of them just because there's so much range. Like, Harrison Ford's voice changed so much. Yeah, he doesn't sound the same. So how hard was that for you to kind of make that change, and which one did you prefer doing the most?
Well, it's weird because I worked on a project where I was young Han and my buddy Kiff was mature Han. I try to avoid saying old Han because it sounds mean, but like, so I was kind of expecting that. They mentioned, so I auditioned for original trilogy Han. And then at the end of the session, I was like, who's voicing Han in the sequels? And they were like, oh, we don't know yet. And I was like, well, maybe I can give it a shot. Like, I'd sort of done it jokingly, but never really seriously because his voice is so different. And that's the reason they usually bring in a second actor. And I was like, let me try it. So they sent me the audition, and I, recorded it and sent it back to my agent. And she was like, hey, honey, you sent me the reference file. This isn't, can you send me your audition? And I was like, that's me, that there is no reference.
That's so sick.
And I was like, that's dope. I was like, all right, so that's a good sign. Which was cool because
I thought the same thing, by the way, like, just to let you know. Yeah, I think so. Nick and I played through the whole game together. Nick flew out to LA. We sat down next to each other, played through the whole story. And I turned to Nick during The Force Awakens, and I was like, did they get Harrison Ford to do the voice lines for the sequel trilogy? And Nick was like, I'm pretty sure Nick was like, maybe.
That's crazy.
And we looked into it. Yeah. And we were shocked. Like, you nailed mature
awesome.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah. You killed that.
Thank you. That's all. It's crazy too. So the difference between those two sessions is for the very first one for Han, I didn't know what I was going in for. They didn't tell me what it was. They kind of alluded to it being Han Solo, but they didn't tell me directly. So it was weird when I went in, they like slapped the script down. They were like, all right. And it starts off with him saying, Han Solo, Captain. And I was like, oh, this is what we're doing? We're doing and no one told me, huh? Like, I was not as prepared as I would have been had I known, because I was like, man, I would have studied I know pretty much all the lines by heart, but there's a difference between knowing them and then having to perform them. So, I mean, it's weird to me to hear the first couple lines we do, I can hear that I'm not warmed up. So by like Empire, Return of the Jedi, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get it. But like, so for older Han, I had a week or two to prepare, and so I was warming up and doing all kinds of exercises that the lovely James Arnold Taylor I contacted him, and I was like, I need to sound like old Harrison without completely destroying my voice, because there's a healthy way to do it and an unhealthy way, and the unhealthy way is to scream and smoke, and I'm not going to do that. So the healthy way did involve a little bit of screaming, but there were also a lot of warm-up exercises. So by the time I went in, I was like, all right, I'm ready, let's do this. And I would have done something similar for young Han had I known that's what I was going in for. Still, I'm very proud of what I did, but it was like a complete shock. It wasn't until, you know, they showed me the script and I was like, this is Star Wars. We're doing Star Wars. Like, this is, we're replicating, you know, that they were like, yeah, it's a video game. You know, it's maybe Lego related, like very secretive. So it's weird, but thank you so much. Yeah, I was honestly very nervous about doing older Han because I was used to doing young Han for like the Lego specials and stuff like that. So for me, it was like, oh, is this gonna work? And so I was surprised that people were really receptive. Yeah, I had a similar, not to brag, but I was so excited. So Matt Wood, who does Grievous and Kylo and Roger, like the battle droids, he was directing. Which I always geek out over because
that's so cool.
I mean, Matthew Wood is he's a pretty big deal.
He's a very big deal. So, but there were moments where they would play the reference line like "Chewie, we're home" or whatever, and then I would do it, and there was like 3 or 4 times where I go, "Okay," and I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Okay, do it," and I was like, "I did it," and he was like, "Oh, I thought that was the reference line." I was like, yes, and it kept happening, and I was like, "Yeah, we did it." So it was very, very flattering, but yeah, tricking him, who I know has lived and breathed Star Wars for like 25 years, was a big deal for me. So
that's some power that you have, that you can just emulate Harrison Ford whenever. Like you could order pizza and like freak out the person taking your order. You know,
I do. There is a warm up process. It's hard for me to like, you know, like it's even with the mic, like the Chewie, we're home. Like I gotta be right in the mic, and it's like a whole thing. But
I'm sure. But like when you're there, like it is just unmistakably Harrison Ford. Have you like ever had the opportunity to talk to Harrison Ford?
Yes,
at all?
But
really?
This is way pre me doing voiceover. This is actually, I don't think I've ever told this story on a podcast or anything, or because it's embarrassing, but it's a long...
Well, now's the time.
It's a bit of a long story, but so I'm a huge, like massive Indiana Jones fan, like to the point where it's a little scary.
Let's go!
We'll get into that.
I know.
We'll get into
The Last Crusade. I'm not in my office right now, just because the sound's so bad. But like, I've got the idol, and I've got the Grail that I've made, and I made a replica.
Oh, Nick's got the Grail right there.
Yeah, I'm obsessed. Oh wait, Nick, make a noise because I can't see you. I don't know how to do the grid view. Oh yeah. I made mine mine was 3D printed, and then I painted it, and I spent most of the pandemic replicating the Grail diary, like as accurately as possible, so I can grab it at some point. But anyway,
that's so cool.
So Indy's a huge obsession of mine, and I have like 4 of the Indy jackets that I keep selling because they don't fit right, they don't look right, you know. And I'm like, I have to get the perfect jacket. Anyway, so I was in college, and one of my professors was like, "Hey, I heard you really like Indiana Jones." And I was like, "I do." And he was like, "They're doing a screening of," and he was being real sly about it. And he was like, "They're doing a screening of Crystal Skull tomorrow. What are you doing?" And I was actually on my way to the midnight premiere, just with friends at a theater. And I was like, okay, so this is very embarrassing, but I'm literally dressed like Indiana Jones right now to go to this, because my friend dressed like Short Round, my other friend dressed like Senior. So we were super excited. And he was like, "Can you come at 6 a.m? And go do this screening in Times Square?" And I was like, I wasn't planning on staying in the city, so I didn't have a change of clothes. And I was like, yeah, but I don't have I'm literally dressed like Indiana Jones right now. I'm gonna have to sleep on my buddy's futon, get up, and be dressed like Indy at this screening for like people that were, you know, they were in their 70s and 80s, like they were old National Board of Review people, so very stuck up, very just kind of like over it. And he was like, "All right, let me call you back." And so he called me back. He was like, "It's fine, but don't make a scene." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to make a scene." So I oversleep because I'm exhausted. And I wake up, it's like 7 o'clock, and I'm like, "Oh, crap." So I like run out of my friend's apartment. He's way downtown. This is in New York, by the way. I don't know if I said that. And have to make my way up to Times Square. So I run from like, I don't remember, it's like 7th Street up to 42nd Street, dressed like Indiana Jones in the pouring rain. And I finally make it to the Times Square thing. And there's only like 40 minutes left in the movie. And I managed to get my way in. There's no one at the door. Like I can't, and it's a locked building. It's like the Paramount building or something. And so I keep having to just sort of nonchalantly wait for someone to leave and then sneak in through another door and then wait for someone to leave and then sneak in through another door to eventually get my way to the screening room. And so I I get in finally, and I see my professor sitting there, and he's like, his eyes light up because he sees me in the hat, and I just look like a total mess, and I'm soaking wet, like just wet to the core. And I sit next to him, and the head of the film department at my school is next to him, and he's confused and looking at me. And so they do this Q&A with Harrison Ford, and my professor leans over to me, and he goes, "Don't tell anyone, but go get him." I was like, "What?" He's like, "He's leaving right now." And we were in a very small theater. This theater maybe had 50 seats, like really, really tiny. He was like, "Go get him." I was like, "I don't know what that means." He's like, "When he leaves, jump in front of him in the aisle." And I was like, "I can't do that." And he's like, "Go do it." And I was like, "Okay." So I like ran past. I literally, like, this like little old lady was like just about to get up, and I was like, "Excuse me," just trying to sneak past. And I mean, I would never do this now. Like, now that I've been through this, I was like 17 or 8. I don't remember how old I was. I was young enough. And I sort of stood in front of him. I was like, "Hi, Mr. Ford, you're my hero." And he just goes, "Wow." And that was kind of it. And I was like, "I just love you." And I'm looking over at my professor like, "Why am I doing this?" And Karen Allen's standing next to him, who's Marion. And I was just like, "And I've been in love with you since I was like a fetus, ma'am." Like, I was.
Oh my God.
And she, yeah. And she was just like, "Oh, okay." And so he was like, "Well," and I was like, "I just wanted to shake your hand." And I don't really remember what happened after that. Everyone just kind of filtered out. But my professor sort of like grabbed me on the shoulder afterwards because I was in a daze, and he was like, "Don't tell anyone." So of course I'm telling everyone. Well, I haven't said his name, but it was, yeah. So I met him in that capacity, and then I took a picture with Karen Allen that I don't know where it went. So it was an insane moment, but also really embarrassing because I also looked like a drenched rat. Like, I looked more like Indy when he goes to chase Jacques in the plane where his hat's, you know. So I'm just soaking wet, and it wasn't like a, "Wow, that's really cool, I got to meet my hero." It was like, "God, I'm just a big old dork." So
if you had a chance to redo your interaction with Harrison Ford today, as like having gone through what you've gone through, what would you tell him? If you had like, 20 seconds, what would you tell Harrison Ford?
Nothing. I don't think I tell him. I don't think I literally not.
There's no recovery. There's no recovery.
I have friends who have met him, and because he'll hang around different places in like Culver City and stuff. His son owns the Ford's filling station, and so like my buddy Kiff, who also voiced older Han in Forces of Destiny, said that he was just sitting with him, and he said, "Hey, I just want you to know, like, thank you for teaching me, like, how to be a man," was kind of how he said. And I was like, "Oh, it's a really interesting thing to say to him." And he, from what I remember his story, I may be getting this wrong, he was just kind of like, "Okay." Like, I think
that sounds about Harrison Ford.
Like, what can you say to a god? Like, what do you say to someone who's heard it all, seen it all? To him, humanity is just, we're all fawning over him. So there's nothing I could say to impact him. Like, yeah. I'm very thankful that I got to have that extremely innocent pre-voiceover experience where I was just the most raw nerd in the universe. So, yeah. Okay,
I had like one specific question that I've been dying to ask you, and Please, Nick knows exactly what I'm going to ask.
I know exactly. I've been waiting for this question.
What could it possibly be? Yeah.
Okay, so literally last night I was playing Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, and I was like, I think I had accidentally like shot Han or something, and he like made like a grunt noise, and it was making me think, how is it like, do you record all those like grunt noises and like when you're jumping, like just the little noises like that? And if you do, what's that process like?
I mean, yeah, that's all us. I mean, unless they had someone come in, because I know for Mumble Mode they had actors that we didn't even know existed coming in and doing stuff. But I'm pretty sure all the grunts and efforts are me. But yeah, it's literally just, you get a list where it's like, he's jumping. I was like, huh, or he gets hit, like, like those kinds of, and trying to picture, because you hear in Indy and stuff like that, he gets hit and he makes funny noises. So I'm just trying to imagine, like, the thing I kept thinking of was in Temple of Doom when he drinks the blood of Kali and he's just going, "Ha!" Like he's making those noises on the table. Like, that's the thing I kept referencing in my head. So yeah, and because you don't see, when he jumps, he doesn't exert or make noises typically. So, and it's Lego, so I'm kind of playing at that point, when you get something like he explodes into 1,000 pieces, you're just kind of playing with the sort of idea of what Han might sound like versus trying to do an exact match, because it's, you know, it's fun, it's for kids, it's goofy. So there is some stuff like him pushing, you know, like weird. Just what could that sound like if he wasn't taking himself seriously and he's in the body of a Lego? So, but
That's
it's
awesome.
not an awkward process so much as it's just hilarious, because, you know, would typically do like 3 or 6 of each specific noise, and then, you know, I don't know where they're going to wind up in the game. So like I remember the part where Luke comes in with the training remote. It must have been something they wrote after we recorded, because my reaction's all grunts, and I'm like, that's so funny. That's probably me just jumping, or, you know, it's weird how they applied it, but great. I mean, it's perfect for Lego.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was like very interesting to imagine like voice actors just like making those like frustrated grunty noises.
This is at least easy compared to some where like you're doing oh god, what's that game? The Days Gone. I was in that, and one of the more intense were like, all right, I remember the director going like, you're getting stabbed in the throat, and they're repeatedly stabbing you in the throat. I'm just like, you know, like whatever that noise is.
That would not be in Lego Star Wars.
No, thank God. Yeah, because it was not fun. You know, by the end of it, I was like, this is not enjoyable. You know, it's like, all right, now you're being disemboweled, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So thankfully none of that.
So I know with Lego Star Wars, and then you said with Forces of Destiny as well, like you've had a lot of Han Solo experience. Have you gotten an opportunity to do Indiana Jones as well?
No, not yet. No, nothing official. I've had some friends ask me to do some stuff and stuff like that, but nothing official. So who knows? Maybe one day. That's the dream.
That was my next question. I know you said being the big Indiana Jones fan that you are, is that like the big checkbox to check off for your career that you would love to do?
Yeah, I mean, as far as characters go, Indy's at the top. I mean, like Indy, Marty McFly, Han, like they all kind of. There's like a list of like 10 characters that I bombard my agent with, where I'm like, these are the characters that changed my life, and Indy's way at the top. Spider-Man. I'm trying, like there's a bunch, but anyway, yeah. If there was ever an opportunity, I would do whatever it took to throw my hat into the ring and see, you know.
Yeah, well, anybody at Bethesda watching this right now, we've got your guy. This is him. So
I have no idea what's going on. I mean, with games, everything's so secretive with games. It's, you know, sometimes you'll get an audition, and even know for Forces of Destiny, like that was my first Han thing technically, and they didn't say it was Harrison Ford. They were like, we want someone who kind of sounds like Harrison, and this character's name is like James or something. Like they made up a name, so I had to kind of, you know, grill my agents and be like, do you want a Harrison Ford voice match or not? So it's, you know, with that kind of stuff, it's possible an auditions come across and I didn't even know it because they weren't being specific. But yeah, I mean, Indy's my number one guy, but I understand these things change. There's plenty of guys out there that want that role. But I would be more than honored to take a crack at it.
And hopefully, you know, with the new Indiana Jones movie coming out, which I'm sure you're very excited about.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Hopefully the gaming world is lockstep with that and starts revitalizing what indie could be, because it could be so much more. I think, I mean, I would love to see, Nick would love to see, for example, a new Lego Indiana Jones project as well. So
I'd love
that would be absolutely incredible. I had kind of a fun question for you.
Go ahead,
What is, and I think I know your answer now just from hearing you talk. What is more iconic, Han Solo's blaster or Indiana Jones's whip?
The whip, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, no, not at all. Because like you can't point to another character that has a whip other than Zorro, but that doesn't really, or Catwoman. But like, the blaster is extremely iconic. But there's so many people with blasters in Star Wars. No one else really has a whip. Like
that's a great answer.
Like if you take a bunch of like moms or something, you know, someone that's like maybe not quite as into this stuff, where it's just like, sorry moms, I'm picturing like my mom specifically, and you hold up Han Solo's blaster or Indy's whip, I guarantee my mom's not going to know what Han Solo's blaster is, but she's going to know the whip. Mostly just because I was probably running around in the woods a lot as a kid with my little whip, where I couldn't my Han Solo blaster was bright orange.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
Indy kind of put whips on the map, didn't he?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's so I mean, it's no shade on Han Solo. It's just I think that as far as an image goes, a whip is like, what is this? It's insane.
Steering back to Lego Star Wars, do you have a favorite Lego Star Wars Lego set?
I have one that I have many that I want. I still haven't gotten the snow speeder, and every time I see that, I'm like, it like retired before I realized that it was available. And a favorite set, I'm really excited about that trash compactor one that's coming out, or comes out in like a couple days. But favorite set, I want to say the snow speeder. I mean, I dare not say the Millennium Falcon because I can't. There's $800 and it would take up half my apartment.
That thing is so cool though. Like if you've ever seen it in a Lego store.
Yeah, I have. I would kill to have that, and then to get one of the light kits that go inside it. Like I would be.
Oh yeah.
That would be awesome. But I'd have to. I don't even know. Build an extra wing in my apartment, which is not happening anytime soon. But yeah, I don't know. They're all so cool. That's the problem. Is I want all of them.
I'm working with Matt Wood. I'm working with James Arnold Taylor. Like, who is the person that you're like, I can't believe I get to do this?
I could tell you exactly who that is. Billy D. Williams. I didn't get to meet him, but when I saw that he's like, "Hey, you doing, you old pirate?"
How you doing, you old pirate? It's so good to see you.
And he comes out and gives my character a hug. I was like, that got me more than anything. Where I was like, that's Lando. I'm talking to Lando. Like that blew my mind. I mean, I wish I could meet him in some capacity, but that's just not the way these games are recorded, or most things. But yeah, that was the thing that sort of, I mean, Anthony Daniels too. It's like, he's 3PO. Like it's crazy. Those kinds of things where they're part of the legacy is hard to believe. I know for Shelby, she got to work with Shelby Young, who does Leia. She got to work with Mark Hamill on Forces of Destiny, and I'm like, that's crazy that we're in I mean, I didn't get to do a scene with them, but we're in the same sort of universe there for a second. I was like, that's pretty wild. Like anytime someone from the original, like with Back to the Future, getting to work with Christopher Lloyd was like, there's no part of me that can accept that. It's too surreal and too weird. It's almost as if I hadn't done it because I can't absorb that information. It's just too cool.
Yeah, it takes a lot of different, unique, talented people to put this tapestry of Star Wars together, and to know that you've now left such a big mark on that tapestry, I'm sure must make you feel very good about yourself. And I mean, like,
I don't. But thank you.
I'm sure you don't even realize like how, like I said, 32 million people. Well, that's like not even scratching the surface. This game will outsell that. That's in the first 2 weeks. Seeing your performance as Han Solo, such a big character in such a big game, like you really have left a big mark on a very big community. So on behalf of everybody, I just want to thank you for your hard work and for absolutely killing it, because you really did kill it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, for me, it's hard for me to accept that or feel that, or I'm just excited that it's out there. And I love Han so much. I love Harrison Ford so much. So to get to inhabit that character and just try to kind of, the idea that you guys are like, did they get Harrison Ford for this? Like, that's my job. It's not about me. It's about making sure that I'm just doing the character the best that I can. Like, in an ideal situation, no one would question it. They would just go, yeah, that's Harrison Ford. Like I wanted to be, same thing with like Marty McFly, as I wanted people to just think that was Michael J. Fox. Like, it's not about me, it's about the character. Like, of course, I'd love to keep doing it in other projects and stuff, but that's not up to me. I'm glad that this exists and that I got to have a big impact. 32 million is not something my brain can handle. So,
well, I'm sure that like this game in and of itself speaks louder than any resume. Your work in this game is crazy. I can tell that it takes somebody who has that deep care for this character. It takes somebody who is intricately familiar with the complexities of the voice of Harrison Ford in different situations at different times in different movies. And you certainly have that appreciation. And I know all of our viewers are appreciative of that. I know Nick and I are appreciative of that. So thanks for all your hard work.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I never would have guessed that being overly familiar with someone's mannerisms and voice would ever pay off in any way other than just me looking like a complete nut job. So being like, no, when Harrison Ford says whiskey, he has a lisp. Whiskey. You know, like certain things that, you know,
that's so cool.
I appreciate, just not to, we're wrapping up obviously, but like I never thought that being that familiar with anyone's voice would ever pay off. It's a very strange thing to be obsessed with. And if you told me as a kid, like, hey, you know, keep listening to that, keep watching Raiders or Last Crusade over and over again, like your weird little impression will one day affect other people, I would be like, you're crazy. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks so much for your advice. Thank you for your time and for sharing your incredible experiences working not just on this game, but on all of these very successful projects that you've worked on. I hope, and I know Nick hopes as well, that you get your opportunity to, Horizon. Yeah, he's pointing to the Horizon thing.
What?
Nick.
My chihuahuas just showed up too. I don't know if you heard the barking. But...
No. Nick just like pointed to his copy of Horizon. He had to get it. He had to get it out.
Yeah.
So you played, I believe, 2 characters in Forbidden West.
Yes.
At least that's what you have credits for.
More. I don't remember. Yeah.
When did you kind of realize, or did you ever realize that you were working on, you know, a AAA Sony exclusive at the level of Forbidden West?
I mean, I knew Ash is like one of my closest friends, so I knew that what it was through her, because like I have her copy of the first game because she was like, you should play this, and I was like, okay. And this is before I was cast in it, so I am very aware of Horizon. And so I just kind of, it was weird. I mean, I did this audition, I didn't really know what it was, and then they brought me in and they were like, you're going to be doing facial capture, and so it was me and another actor. I have no idea who he was, and the funny thing is they put this rig, it's like a football helmet with a light and a camera, and they said, go into that room, and I went, okay, and they turned the light on, and the light is bright, like it's like having a little headlight in your eyes, and when I walked into the room, it was pitch black, and there was music stands for some reason right at the front of the door, so I walk in and immediately walk into all the music stands, and I'm like, what is happening? It was like a really weird, like, it was like they were hazing me.
They're like, welcome to the Forbidden West.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, what's going on? I can't see, and there's music stands, and then I just see the director in the corner go, hello, whose name I don't remember, but it was a very weird like intro into that. And so that very, very first session, I just did it with another actor, and we were just sort of going off each other, which is, you know, pretty rare, obviously pre-pandemic. And then we did. They asked me to do a bunch of other characters later on in the session, where same thing, you know, put on a helmet, do the thing. But it was, with those kinds of games, there's so many characters in such a vast world. You don't know how you're going to show up, what your character will look like, where they'll be, you know. So it was interesting to see some of the footage come back. I was like, oh, okay. I don't remember that at all.
I'm sure everybody watching this video can learn a lot from what you've shared. So thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Thanks for spending this time with us. And for everybody watching this video, if you are enjoying stuff like this, let us know. This is our first guest on the channel, so you will always have that accolade, as you were the first right
accolade.
That's why there were all those technical difficulties,
wasn't it? Yeah, I know. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, isn't he our first guest on the channel? It's always been you and me, right?
Yes, I guess so.
I think
we've been on other people's. I guess I've never really thought about it like that. I mean, this is a hell of a way to start it off. Han Solo.
So we're starting off with Han Solo. If you guys are enjoying this content, let us know in the comments down below. If you would like any other voice actors, game devs, anything, let us know in the comments down below, because we can try to make it happen. We'll try our best to put a stage to the various components of this game and kind of show off all of the talent that is under the hood. It took a village to make a game this successful. So it took a city. Yeah. So to highlight some of those components which were so key in the formation of that, is very important to us, and we want to play a role in doing that. So let us know in the comments down below what parts you would like to see. Other than that, guys, thank you all so much for watching. That's going to do it for this one. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Can you do me a favor? Can you walk off camera so that your camera can zoom in on Obi-Wan again? Because that was the funniest thing.
Oh my God. Okay.
This is your true third guess.
Okay, so for everybody,
do the outro. You can leave.
Oh my God. Okay.
Bye, Andreas.
Yeah, bye.
There we go. There he is. Obi-Wan, let's go. All right, I guess it's my job to do the outro now. All right. Well, AJ, thank you so much for joining us. This has been incredible. Is there anywhere where everyone can find you, Twitter account or anything like that? Why are you back?
Get out of here. I love that the zoom in is amazing.
Oh yeah, it's like
it's so funny. Where can people find, I don't know, my name, AJ LoCascio. You can look me up on Twitter or Instagram. I mean, there's not much going on there other than me being like, I was in this, or look at my chihuahua. So
anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Bethesda, give this man a call, please. Make him Indiana Jones. Hook him up. Hook us all up. He's incredible at what he does. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, everybody, for watching this. And as always, we will see you all next time.